Hey guys and ladies, this is Giovanni Rodriguez, co-founder of both an MSP and a VoIP services company that sells through the channel. We are here to talk about who to sell and who not to sell to when it comes to selling MSP services. We talk to a lot of MSPs at events, over the phone, in webinars, and the topic is always the struggle of how to add revenue to their business. So that was going to be our first topic about how to add revenue to your MSP. Let's do it. So what are the challenges that MSPs find in getting into situations where they might have some customers that are not the ideal customer, let's just say? So some of the things that happen is the lack of a good sales engine sometimes leads to you having to basically open the door to whoever comes through the door. And you're not really profiling these customers or being picky enough to be selective, right? For the group of customers that you really want to serve. So these customers are usually the most demanding, the ones that might bring in the revenue, but they also use a lot of your resources, including you as a resource, as the founder or owner of the MSP. And at the end of the day, what you have left with is that you're probably working too hard. Back in the days, I remember that, we have many cases on the MSP side where we were very excited about taking on this particular customer. It was maybe bigger than any other customer we had, or it was a decent sized customer. Or maybe we had the promise that if we took care of this one location, that we were going to basically get the kings to the castle and get all of their other businesses or all of the other locations. But it was rough. It was rough because maybe we took on a customer that didn't fit our model. And the first red flag for us was, do they require something that you don't necessarily do and you're just willing to take on to basically win the account? I remember back in the days, we added a large customer in Manhattan, and we were so impressed with their offices. It was right in the middle of Times Square, impressive offices, and it was a large team. However, their setup was very antiquated, and it took 4 times as much just to keep things running. The budget wasn't there to do replacements, and as a managed service provider that's contractually obligated to remediate anything that happens on that network, you're left very exposed. What happens if that very antiquated network all of a sudden went down and you had to spend countless hours doing remediation at that network? Part of the service that we do, but we have to take preventive measures to make sure that doesn't happen. I usually say that it's almost like you should underwrite the customer to make sure that this customer qualifies for your unlimited service. So that creates a big impact. So we are here to just share a few lessons that I think would be very helpful for you to look at in terms of how to be more selective in terms of the customers. I would say, look at some of the other videos about kickstarting your sales engine, because if that sales engine is working, you're probably going to get a little more picky or selective about who you let through the door. First thing I would do is go through all of your customers and categorize them. Take your A, B, and C, and D customers. And then for a couple of reasons. One, you want to know who those A customers are, what they look like, so that way you can get more of them. How do you replicate those A customers? And then once you know that you kick off that engine and start replicating those A customers, your D customers will be those that you want to potentially very nicely say that probably not a good fit, and we're not going to be renewing that contract. So that is lesson number 1. Lesson number 2 is go back to that A category and make that a profile. Your ideal customer looks like customer A, and that profile, we're going to talk about that a little bit in a second, looks like this. As an example, if you find that you have a lot of law firms in that category A, then you start saying, all right, so my ideal customer, it's a law firm. It's a law firm that has more than 15 employees. It's a law firm that uses a case management system, as an example. I mean, there's plenty of them out there, but needles, are they over $1 million? Maybe you find out, and you might be able to get some of these details in your executive review meetings. A lot of people call them QBRs. I like to call them executive review meetings because it doesn't set a frequency. I think some customers need quarterly, some customers need semi-annually, and there are some customers that only want to meet once a year. So as long as you're doing minimum 1 or 2 a year where you're meeting with your customers. Use that to get to know them, get that profile going, and be very frank. Say, hey, look, I want to have more customers like you. Let me ask you some questions. Are you okay with sharing level of revenue? You know how many employees they have. Then what you're gonna do is expand that to include other characteristics on that profile. So that might be, do they like golf? Do they play golf? Are they whiskey drinkers? Do they like sports cars? Do they like to travel? Who do they like to read? What kind of conferences do they like to attend? What music do they like, right? And if anything, that last one would make for some nice gifts. And this is all great stuff to help create that perfect partner profile. And it helps you focus your marketing efforts because now you know who you're talking to. And then you turn around and everything you do from your social media, your marketing, your letters, your website, focus on speaking to that ideal profile. In our company, we even have a name for the A customer and the B customer. This is a great way to categorize, and that is just a foundation by which you're going to build your marketing efforts and your sales efforts.
If you'd like to see more on how to add revenue as an MSP or other topics that we cover, make sure to subscribe to this blog so you can be notified by email as new content is being posted. Also, an important part of growing your company is having ways to measure that growth. So we encourage you to go to the link and download the top 6 benefits of having a scorecard for your MSP. We believe that if you don't measure what you're doing, you will know if you're growing or you're slowly dying. Remember to stay connected, and we'll see you in the next one.